Thanks for stopping by Big Top Gaming. My name's Brian,
And I'm Ethan.
and in this video we've got a Brawlmachine battle report between Cygnar and Legion. So for the Cygnar list this time around, I decided to play Stryker 2. This is a warcaster that is what I feel is was extremely popular in the old Cygnar and Legion days of like 2015, you'd say, 2012?
Yeah.
So I never got a chance to play against him as rampant as he was in my local gaming community, and I never played as him because Cygnar was kind of like my don't touch army for a long time. So for his list, I've decided to play him in Flames, and my battle group contains Old Rowdy and a Lancer. It just seems perfect for him, being that he has a ton of spells he wants to get out, and Old Rowdy is just a really good character jack, even though he's a little bit on the pricey side. For the rest of the list, the Legion, the Flames list kind of builds itself. I've brought a full unit of Legion of Lost Souls because of the ridiculous interactions between Bond of Brothers or Blood Bond or something, Bloodbound, and Vengeance. I also have Alexia the Undying in here to make sure that they can hit harder. And then on top of that, I have Master Gabriel Throne, or Grand Master Gabriel Throne. And he's just a super great model for this list, being able to give better damage to the Legion Lost Souls. Stryker gets Pathfinder if he needs it. And then it can get tough to survive a little bit. For my specialists, they're kind of like they're kind of here just to look pretty, because the list kind of is just what it is in the main part of it. We've got Savio, Ragman, and Glenn Cormier. They just would swap out for if Throne wasn't doing anything, which I would find so highly doubtful that it would never happen. Or I could pull out Alexia, who also just will always be in this list. So they're just really there to look pretty.
So then this week I'm busting out some Legion, and we decided to go with Primal Terrors because we know they don't get their free, stupid Hellmouth tentacles. So like Primal Terrors is all mopey, but Anamag is still Anamag. So I wanted to see how she plays at Brawl.
She's the Scar one of Hordes, I think.
That's a fair thing to say. So for her, I got Ammok, Golab, the new Mekanoshredder, and Raek. And then for a Spell Martyr, a min unit of Warmongers with my Raek option of Gorag attached to them, and then a min unit of Chosen just to try and leverage the feat, the +2 armor spell, and the +2 strength, just spreading it around, because I think Chosen can do a lot of work on her feat with impact attacks and just kind of mow through infantry. And then my specialists are a Warmonger Warchief, a Feral Geist, and a unit of Rotwing, so I can kind of swap out the Warmongers if they're not doing enough work for birds, and then that gets me like the Warchief, and then I can swap in a Feral Geist if like an Incorporeal solo will do well. In this matchup of magical weapons galore, not so much.
So neither one of us had any sweet buffs to go first. I ended up winning the role, which is really good for me. So this will be my first game with Stryker 2 ever. I've probably watched a few games played with him and kind of get the gist of what he's supposed to do, but this might be a bit clunky trying to play him at first. So right away, I end up using velocity to get 6 inches up, and then I charge a Chosen. And before I commit to this, I want to make sure that I'm not just giving Ethan my caster, because I'm like 3 inches away from the center of the table, which is ridiculous. 2 inches.
You're 22 inches up the board.
It's nasty. So not even the rest of my army can keep up with Stryker. So he just has this insane threat range between velocity and the charge. So I'm able to just influence a lot of the table and make sure Ethan has to stay pretty far back. And I just end up getting all my support pieces where I need to. And I run Old Rowdy around this building because I didn't really have him in the best place to start off with. So no batteries died. It's just a video file got corrupted as I transferred it over. The thing that sucks about this is the way that I do things, I have to do a lot of juggling with files. So there's just more chance for one of these to get trashed. So at least Ethan only lost his second turn. So
yeah, if only we lost the whole game. So basically, if you notice where Anamag is, she got to walk a whopping 2 inches to get into the kill box, because that's how far Stryker threatens, because he threatens a 17-inch non-linear. I am just outside 17 inches, and when he goes first, that's a super sad time for me. So I just ran some Chosen up, put Gristle of Bond on them. My beast flanked wide just to try and stay out of threats and hide behind the woods. But like
Bond of Gristle and Bone.
well, same thing. I have the Spell Martyr position to go for my flag because the Lancer's on the other side because I was worried about him scalping out my solo. But basically, like, I have to keep myself from dying and I have to throw my army up there, and that's just the life I live.
So back to your regularly scheduled programming of models moving on the table. I end up not really allocating anything else or out for focus just because my Warjacks are they're either behind a wall of Legion, or I guess that he's not behind a wall of Legion. He's just in a place where he can't get to anywhere super influential. So old Rowdy ends up running. I'm trying to stay out of a lot of threat ranges from those Warmongers, but I think I'm going to get into a couple of them. And then I'm trying to balance. The bottom flag is being covered by the Raek, and I don't want to have to end up putting Stryker or anything else within his jump or within his walk jump threat. I do decide to throw up the Lancer to get Rebuke out onto the Chosen. I feel like this way I at least force Ammok to just go do his disbinding thing. So I end up getting Lancer into position and rebuking the Chosen. Pretty straightforward stuff. I think this is when I noticed that Stryker has a rate of fire 2 gun. That's a POW 12. It's only range 10, but it's still pretty sweet. And I can't actually leverage that, but I'm at least filing that in my brain space for later because that gun's ridiculous. So now I'm going to be doing the good old bait the vengeance shots here. But I think given the way that I'm spread out, I might have presented a few too much Legion for Ethan to chew on. But with them having command 10, I can really hang the whole unit back and just leave a couple out. And if Ethan doesn't deal with them, it's just going to be more charges. But if he does, it just means that Vengeance is going to get procced. So that's kind of what I'm trying to set up here, is keep a lot of Legion on the table and still be able to do a lot of work later. Throne walks up and use his battle plan to make the Legion tough this turn. You're up, sir.
Yeah, so going into my turn, pulling my Fury, I want to feat this turn to try and negate tough, because I don't want to have to throw away Golab for Entropic Force, but the problem is, if I want to walk up and feat and catch dudes, I will probably die. So there, I did a Disbinding quick, did 3 damage to Stryker, and I want to try and leverage Chosen to try and impact attack and get deeper, because there's not really any good Berserk bubbles, and I want to try and get onto old Rowdy. So that's why I'm debating feeding and then just putting up +2 strength, +2 strength. My goal is to +2 strength the the Chosen, and then have them activate after I Carnage, and then they will go, hopefully impact attack, kill a dude, let me ritual slaughter the other +2 strength onto the Warmongers. I should just look at the name of the spell. It's like Fury Strength. So that's what I'm doing right now. I upkept Gristle and Bond. So now I'm just mathing out everything. I think at this point I did misread, or I forgot, because I know how Carnage works. I thought only I had to be in. So I was like, okay, at least I can Carnage catch a couple of those dudes, because I just need to be in, and then I won't trivially die to Stryker. But I can't really move anywhere. Luckily, Stryker went around the other way, but he still threatens basically to my flag. So I'd hoped to put Anamag on the flag this game, but that's literally Stryker makes a 17-inch bubble of, if I move there, I die, and I have to always stay outside 17 or risk dying.
Yeah, in Brawlmachine, with this list particular, you don't have the luxury of being able to body block Anamag, so you have to be real careful with her.
Yeah, because Legion, even with my medium base 5 wound guys, they will trivially kill them, because that's just what Legion and Flames does. So here, Golab, I believe is going, I feated, I put up the +2 strength on the Chosen, I put up Carnage, charges, hits, kills, I Lightning Strike to just kind of run away, hide behind the woods, try and leverage speed 7 and flight for next turn, and there I have to readjust because her spear got stuck on the tape measure.
Yeah, I think Golab's Entropic Aura stops me from toughing with those Legion Lost Souls.
But it's only within 5.
Yeah.
And that's why I feed it instead, because if he's within 5 of Legion, like, he will just die to the others that are around at 13, 17. And I wanted to try and keep him alive. So here I charge, do an impact attack, and this is where I measure Carnage and realize I'm in it, but I'm not. My guy isn't, so I actually fail the impact attack.
You fail one, but the other one you get, so he's still stuck and doesn't get his charge.
Yep, because I charged the back guy hoping to impact attack 2 of them, because I'm like, oh, I'm in Carnage, Mat 9, this should be easy, 4's the hit, and then it's like, nope, reread Carnage, because I couldn't move up that extra 2 inches to catch them. So he fails his charge, I charge there, I hit, so he gets the repo at least out of my way, tucks behind the woods a little bit. Warmongers are going. Unfortunately, 2 of them are behind the clouds. I should have had them towing in. I was just worried about his extreme threat ranges and just coming in with feet. So I get 2 of them in there. With feet and the +2 strength spell, they're effectively POW 18, so dice -1. And then I think we're just mathing out all the buffs. And that one does decent damage.
He crushes it, but he splits the damage in a way to where none of my systems go down.
Yep, and then he retaliatory strikes, and I tough, but I'm knocked down because old Rowdy has counter charge and retaliatory strike. So
yeah, he's got a lot of cool shenanigans.
So now that one charges. He rolls really bad, and so I've crippled nothing.
Yeah, the spread on old Rowdy, I think it just has like his fist is out, and that's it.
And then there, I know he's going to just keep his solos away from his flag, but I need to try and tie up the Lancers, so I just end up, I'm out of distance being able to walk and jump into his rear arc, which is unfortunate, so I just charge. Thanks to extended control, he is definitely in. I've never gotten to play with extended control, so this was kind of fun. And then at dice -6.
Yeah, you do a decent amount of damage, and it's to not the greatest column in the world, but
that's the problem. I just didn't do well column-wise.
So now Ethan's kind of given me some stuff to chew on finally. Not finally, I mean, it's turn 3. So I don't feel like I lost a ton. I know it looks like I lost a bunch of Legion Lost Souls, but I think there's like 3 kind of hiding behind that building there. So I'm sitting pretty decent with the way everything's looking here. I'm trying to math out, like, what does old Rowdy get to try and do this turn? And I think I end up deciding that instead of trying to clear off old Rowdy with some Legion Lost Souls, I decide to allocate a couple to him just to get the extra damage out. But I think this is where we had our like wonky stuff. I play Vengeance every now and again, but like I still don't remember the timing of it. So during maintenance, I get to do it, and that's before allocation, is it? Or did I already allocate?
You've powered up, and that's where I was like, are you sure you don't want a Vengeance? Because that's maintenance phase, and power-up's control.
Yep, so I just mixed it up. So I'm going in with Legion Lost Souls. One of them kills the knockdown guy, and this is where you get to see the garbage plays of Legion Lost Souls, where I get to bring one back because of Bond of Blood, and then the one that I brought back gets to make a Vengeance attack because the timing rules in this game, if you're not familiar with them, you need to go look them up because they're so important to the way some of the weird garbage works in this. So when a trigger happens in the game, you are constantly going back to see if the trigger's condition changes and allows another thing to trigger, right? So that probably was weird to follow, but what ends up happening shorthand is Vengeance is this bubble rule. I don't just get Vengeance and then the Vengeance scenario stops. So each model gets to figure out if they get the Vengeance attack. After these have all moved and made their attack, if they kill someone, there's still a model in that unit that's still in this weird imaginary space of Vengeance's trigger. So it gets to go back, and even though the Vengeance thing has already happened and started resolving, that trigger's still kind of floating on the stack, so to speak, if you're into old Magic speak. So the one that I bring back gets to actually make the Vengeance attack. And
it can't move.
It can't move, but it gets to make the attack.
And it gets placed within 3 inches of the last guy that killed, so it's basically the move. And it can, in turn, daisy chain and create more of them.
Yep. So
who can also attack. It's a stupid ruling, and I hate it.
It's not good. I don't like the way the timing rules work there. It's like the whole, we had the thing come up with admonition and countercharge. Same deal. You can go back and recheck trigger moments. So that's my thing. what you've missed so far then is just old Rowdy killed the other Warmongers, so we've cleared that side, and I've over allocated to old Rowdy. So I didn't expect really. I don't know what I expected out of that. I think I might have been thinking about some other plans for him, but he's just kind of chilling there with a couple focus. Next up, I think Alexia ends up putting up her Death Field business or Death Magic. And
Strength of Death.
Yeah, Strength of Death. So I believe now I am going with Throne, who's just trying to charge off trying to get this chosen off, so my Legion Lost Souls can get deeper, and he blows up the damage roll like crazy and rips him off the table with no tough. So that was really good for Throne here. I think like he's just a really solid piece for this list, even though he's a ton of points, but he just does everything, just like Stryker does everything.
He's worth it. And with Tactician, he can just charge through the line.
Exactly. I don't have to worry about my
untie
positioning.
him, and then they go through.
So here comes some more attacks. I think we're doing some damage to whatever it was. I was rolling a location.
I think you're punching the Raek with the Lancer.
Yeah, that's right. The Lancer, we blew up the damage roll on that and left him on like 5 boxes.
You took out his body, and then everything else was almost gone.
Yep. So now I really wish I would have allocated that focus to the Lancer instead of old Rowdy, because I could have got some more punches out there and probably cleared that Raek off and not have to worry about dodging it anymore. So next up, we're going with the Legion of Lost Souls. I believe we've got Stir the Blood from Throne, and then Alexia's in a position to cover most of that zone with her Death Magic aura. So there's just a couple that might not be in, like that far off Legion of Lost Soul.
Yeah, that's the only one.
Yep, but the rest of them are all in. So we start taking the swings, and they're hitting all right. And for damage, they're swinging at POW 16 right now, because I don't have positive charge out there and can't punch them up another level. But POW 16 is enough to kill Warmongers pretty easily. They're not heavily armored, and I don't think you have Bond of Gristle and Bone on them. It's on the Chosen.
Yep.
So we're cleaving through those. They're toughing, or some tough and some don't. Like we wipe the middle of the board with all the Legion. So now I got to figure out what Stryker wants to do, and I think I want to try and stay safe from Golab. So I put Stryker behind Throne and make sure that I can get to where I need to if I have to get a little bit more influential. But right now I'm feeling pretty good with how much I've done.
So that was a back-breaking turn, and the only reason it wasn't more back-breaking is because I think you just forgot about feeding.
I 100% did. With this being my first Stryker game, I forgot I could just feat right now and probably kill that other Chosen and do a lot of work to Golab.
And you would have killed the Mekanoshredder and maybe Amon too.
Yep. Easily could have probably scored some points in that center zone.
Yeah, so I'm deep in the tank. I am up 2-0 because he didn't contest my flag, so I'm going to automatically go to 3. On my head, I have 1 out this game, and that is scoring that middle square, which I don't even know how I'm going to try. Ammok goes up. He misses his attack, of course, because he's mat 6, needs 7s, because Legion are just def 13, because that's the thing. Mekanoshredder goes up, misses, buys, hits, POW 10, breaks armor, buys again, hits, breaks armor. So I've cleared 2, just got 7 more to go on Alexia and old Rowdy. So this will be fun. So now I'm trying to measure okay, if I impact attack along this way, I decide to take a free strike from Golab, or 2 Golab from 2 Legion Lost Souls, so I can fly over and maybe get to Alexia, because that's pretty much the only thing in my head, because I don't want to have the Raek die to a free strike, because that's how close the dead he is. But maybe from this angle I could have got reach on Alexia from the butt.
It's possible. I think she was probably a little too far over for that to happen. But I do have 2-inch reach,
so there I go. I miss an attack. I buy. And now I boost the hit Alexia. I miss. So I have spent a 17-point activation to kill 1 Legion of Lost Soul.
Yeah, defense 15 is really
13.
Nice. On Alexia.
Oh, on Alexia, yes.
She's a really survivable solo.
So there I go. Charge. I impact attack killed 1, and then the charge attack killed the other one. So if I can magically kill those 3, I can win. So in my head, I'm my only hope is for Brian to clock himself, because we can't see the clock here, unfortunately. But Brian's kind of low.
Yeah, I'm really low. I think I got 4 minutes left right now.
Yeah, because it took your vengeance attacks times. I'm my only hope now, because I can't clear the middle, is to push it to turn 5 and be up on CPs. So now I heal him 5 boxes because I got nothing better to do. Walk around, jump to his butt, hit, boost damage, miss with the tail or with the bite.
Yeah,
So
my shield and movement are down, but other than that, I'm doing okay.
And then I don't even kill him.
So time right now is not on my side, and honestly, if I would have feated, I think feat would have probably put me into a position where I could kind of bounce the clock a little bit and just do minimal activations, because I would have killed a little bit more than what I think was necessary. Not necessary, but and I right now I'm taking vengeance attacks into the Mekanoshredder because I feel like on vengeance I can probably kill it, and I end up coming 2 boxes short on this guy, so that is unfortunate. That was one of the ways that I could try and start leveraging scenario and then clear off the Legion so they could then charge either the Chosen or put damage into Ammok or run over that flag and contest it, because I need to start taking down Ethan's scoring options, because I'm in a much more commanding position than he is, and I just need to make sure I can last out to start scoring tons of points. This is the we didn't talk about it, but this is the latest scenario, I guess. The latest if you consider it being the last one in the document too. So this is the latest scenario for the Brawlmachine packet called Singularity. So that's why it looks weird with the layered zone and the couple flags there. This is I feel like you can score quick on this one if you get to the point where you're at here, where we're just attritioning like crazy. But next up, Throne decides to get a little crazy, and I wanted to impact to kill the Mekanoshredder. I didn't quite get there. I think I ended up missing him.
Yeah, you missed.
And I do get Ammok with my charge, but it doesn't mean that it means that I can't really do anything with the Legion of Lost Souls. So old Rowdy goes in and starts trying to take down Golab. It's not really difficult for him to do. We start throwing tons of damage out there, and we end up, even though our damage rolls aren't looking so hot, we still roast him off the table at dice +1 because I don't have positive charge out on him or anything. I run a Legion over to contest the flag and just say screw the Chosen that's hanging out there, and then pass the turn with like 4 seconds left.
So since Brian ran out of time and didn't clear his flag and score it, he's actually opened up the possibility of me just clearing my flag and winning, because this was a game that went to crap right away, but I have an out here, so Anamag just charges, dropped over upkeeps. She's sitting on 7. She casts Carnage, boosts the hit, hits, kills, and then I scored a 4 because he didn't have time to take attacks into the Raek and get Stryker on the flag.
Yep. So for sideboard for me, I didn't change anything. I don't need to. There was like some thought maybe about pulling out Alexia for Savio just for another like beat stick solo, but I feel like the damage projection that she gives to the Legion of Lost Souls is enough to not really take her out. Like I said, the sideboard's for show. So now that I've got my first game of Stryker under my belt, and I ended that game in a commanding position even though I was low on time, I feel like now I can focus up and come back stronger in the second game.
And then for my sideboard, I opted not to switch anything because I didn't think the birds would help me, and they would be just worse because of Lightning Storm.
They'd hurt you.
Yeah, and like
and the fact that you bring more bodies for Bond of Blood.
Yep. So yeah, and unfortunately, since he lost that game, I know he's gonna go first again, and that's just a fun time.
So I do get turn 1, and I'm still stuck on this side with the stupid house. Thankfully, it doesn't bother me a whole lot because my army performs quite centrally, and this way I can at least kind of thread the needle between this forest, and given the fact that Stryker influences so much of the table, you can see he's kind of taken up that position that he did last time. I'm able to really not worry too much about how the forest affects me. I did kick the Legion of Lost Souls down a little bit further in deployment so that I could keep old Rowdy kind of central and not have to waste turns getting him around that building. So this is where we're at, and I'm feeling good with the unpacking.
So same bottom of 1 problems as last game. It's just this time you get to actually watch me measure it out and complain off camera. So I run 2 of them into the clouds. That way I can see through. And then they're in threat range of Legion, a couple of them, just if he wants to proc Vengeance. I try Bond of Gristle on those guys, so that way they're armed 20 and might survive against Vengeance swings from the Legion of Lost Souls, so they don't just instantly daisy chain. So I run up 1 Chosen in threat range as well, but he's outside Rowdy's threat, and I just keep up the other ones. And You can see me.
You're just jiggling it back and forth and being
I have to
need
walk backwards because we deployed straight across from each other. Yeah, it's super fun. So I have to walk out of the kill box next turn after he's hopefully jammed. And Raek stays outside 11 of the Lancers so he doesn't get charged. Golab runs up behind the woods to try and threaten next turn. And there goes the Mekanoshredder. And Ammok runs up the Strip Rebuke.
So I think it got a little brighter in here. Maybe cranked up the lighting a little bit. So now Ethan's kind of done this like interesting thing where he put the meat wall up in front of Anamag here. And what I'm going to try and do is maybe flip the table. This is something that I really like doing in Steamroller when I get the chance to do it. So doing it in Brawlmachine is also really fun, where you end up just kind of flipping the table perspective, right? So instead of playing on the side that I'm on and the side that Ethan's on, we're going to end up playing on the left and right sides of the table instead. So that's kind of where I'm shifting the way the table works a little bit. So that way my flag's protected and I can score it a little bit more easily than I could last time because I wasn't playing in the middle and not flipping the table perspective a little bit. So I'm just trying to figure out right now my feet, because like I'm thinking this is going to be a feet turn because I can't really charge anything or threaten anything, but with feet up I can run and start putting damage in. So I'm like between Alexia and Throne and Positive Charge, I feel like I can put a lot of damage into Golab and possibly even take him off the table. And if I get Golab gone, that means that side of the table right now, any leverage that Ethan had is collapsed, because you can see the Raek is behind him too. So I'm hoping that I can get the Raek and Golab all on my feet turn. So we end up running with the entire unit of Legion of Lost Souls, and they're all in position to where they're all about 5 inches away from their target they want to get into. The last thing I have to do is kind of rejiggle the leader's position. Their command 12 or command 10, sorry, might as well be 12, right? So they can cover a huge swath of the table and not worry about being out of command. Next up, I run the Lancer and try and get him into a position where Positive Charge is going to affect as much as I can, because I can just arc node it through Stryker to the Lancer, so I won't have any problems getting it there. Next up, I have Throne go up onto the flag so I can start scoring, and I end up pulling Stryker backwards. We did stir the blood onto the Legion. I also just put up Positive Charge on the Lancer, and then Rowdy comes over to kind of play Protector. I probably could have got him in base to base to get that Guard Dog bonus up, or I don't even know if it's called Guard Dog.
It's not even a rule. It's just +2
bond.
def all the time. It can't be knocked down.
Yeah, so it's basically Guard Dog.
It's Guard Dog against everything and not just melee.
I guess, yeah, that's good. So Alexia ends up walking up, and she is going to throw out her Death Field thing. And maybe here I'm just like hemming and hawing about something.
You're doing the vengeance moves right now.
Oh, the Stryker feet moves.
Yeah.
So the way that Alexia is positioned, she covers just about everyone again. And after the feet move, she'll be able to get into a little bit better of a spot too. I think right now, like, since this is my first time feeding with Stryker, I kind of move things in a weird way. So like I have to kind of go back and forth a little bit. So we start taking swings into the Raek, and we do enough damage with just the 3 guys that are over there to pull that off the table. So
yeah, when your dice +4, that happens.
Yeah, it hurts, and they're mat 7, so they don't really care that your defense 14. Plus with positive charge, we go up to 9.
Yeah.
So now we're going into Golab, and with him, we're still dice +1 with Positive Charge. So even though our damage rolls aren't looking super duper hot, or at least those first ones weren't, we're still just crushing damage on Golab. And we end up taking him off without even using all of the attacks from the feet. Next up, I end up sucking in a little bit more and just concentrating to that side of the table.
Yeah, so losing basically my entire battle group that matters to run feet attacks it's not unexpected, but it still really hurts. It's been a while since I've played in the Stryker too, so like he threatens 17, Legion of Lost Soul feet running threatens 17, so it's kind of impossible to stay out of that threat. And they just trivially come in at POW 16 or POW 18s with Positive Charge, which does a lot of work. So I have a couple Berserk triggers, I have a couple Chosen charges, so like it's bad, but I'm hoping I can maybe rally back, because now at least his feet's gone, the Lancer's way over there, I don't have to worry about him contesting my flag, but like I'm never going to get to his flag. So Anamag goes. I believe she puts up Carnage and the +2 strength spell on the Chosen.
You also have the added bonus that those Legion of Lost Souls are clumped together pretty well.
That's what I'm saying for the Berserk. And she also puts up the Mekanoshredder Animus on one of the Chosen, the one with the token next to it, because he's out of charged range of Rowdy normally, but the extra +2 gets him into charge rate. So I can get 2 dudes on Rowdy, and I feat just because there's not going to be a better time. And unfortunately, because of Stryker things, I can't even walk up to feet to catch my dudes that are going to be on Rowdy because that's in Stryker threat, and then I die. So I move up the Warmongers. I position them in ways so they can't see each other. The bottom one here is the front 2 are base to base, so the third one can't even see, but I'm yanking on these 2 hitting. Luckily, he hits with the Gorag buff of -2 def and Carnage. That's the only reason I hit. So then just start going through Berserkin.
Yep, they're munching Legion of Lost Souls like nothing. They hit well, and they don't need to crack a lot of armor. So
and unfortunately, yeah, I didn't trust one of them getting the job done, so I've thrown too many away. So I'm worried about what's going to happen when Legion come in. So here I'm just measuring so I can charge the max 10 to get reach. That way I'm not blocking line of sight for the next one around the woods. So I'm just angling it pretty wide.
Yeah, it takes a while to figure this one out just to get the positioning right on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the problem of my Legion are magnetized on the bottom for transport, and then I was using a proxy base with a magnet, so that was fun.
Yep, so that Chosen charges 12 inches now, so I got 2 Chosen on Rowdy. Third one just runs to toe the zone and be annoying for next turn because those 2 are just dead to me. I hit at POW 17, dice -2 with Brutal and the +2 strength. I do okay. I don't think... There we go. I finally moved it. I rolled really well. But I think...
You rolled really well, but you split the columns again like you did last time, so nothing actually went down.
Yep.
And then this one went to the 3, so that you're dodging columns again. I think what you end up taking out is his fist.
Yeah, so the one that kind of doesn't matter. And then I was like... gonna repo forward, and then I was like, wait, that's gonna take the back guy out of command because he can't repo forward.
Yeah, because he ran instead of repo.
Yep. So the leader, I wanted to try and get him out of the woods, so that way, like, if the Legion of Lost Souls wanted to get into them, they'd have to work for it, but it doesn't really matter with thrown there. And then Ammok just contests. And I think I forgot to do the Mekanoshredder, so he just runs because he's my last war beast, and I don't want to lose him.
Yeah, you're jumping him around a bit. So Ethan's already got to play pretty tight with not having a whole lot of access to his Fury banks, with the Golab being gone and the Raek being gone too. So I get to do my vengeance moves, and this is just another fun thing about Legion, or just the Flames in the Darkness in general, is that they went ahead and started attacking the way they needed to, and my facing wasn't the greatest. So this is like that old Crix thing, where Crix was, the reason why it was so good was because it was so forgiving, and I feel like this theme is really forgiving with the with vengeance on top of all the other things you can get with it. So they end up assuming the position to get into the Warmongers. I think I got one of them to make an attack in there, but he didn't do any damage really. So with no buffs, they're still dice off with Bond of Gristle and Bone. They're
and
dice,
I'm yielding on dice off 8.
Yeah, so it's not looking great for them. So I probably would have been better off saving him for a charge, but I just got greedy. So next up, I think I'm going with old Rowdy, who I allocated full focus to, and start swinging my hammer around. And I think Ethan knew that my fist went out, but I think you kind of forgot that he was still functional completely. So I was able to fully load him with no problems and clear off the 2 Chosen that were causing problems. Unfortunately, it means that the 1 Chosen off way on the end is able to contest the zones now. So even if there's really nothing in my way for controlling the middle box zone other than Ammok and the Chosen. So there was a chance that I could probably get a nice scenario push right now, but instead I'm just still in attrition mode because I'm still so far up on it, even though it looks like I've lost quite a bit. So Alexia goes up, and her sole duty is just to put up death magic, and then I start going in with Legion for the charge. And the way that I've got to do this is I want to try and get rid of that last that last Warmonger in the back, but since I can't get line of sight to it, I need to kind of juggle my charges a little bit to where it means that the back ones are going to charge that front line with Gorag and the dude, and then I'll be able to redirect attacks to the ones that I couldn't actually see. And with me still being POW 16, because Throne had just stirred the blood and stayed on the flag, I'm able to rip these guys off even without charge attacks. So I think, although I think I come up one box short. So that one dude is sitting on one box. So I haven't triggered tough or anything. He's just like, that's the way the dice worked out. So I was kind of like chewing on some stuff to see what I wanted Stryker to do here, because I thought maybe I could put something out there with him in order to get that guy out. But at this point, like I don't, since that Chosen's still hanging out on the edge, there's no real reason for me to try and dig deep to clear this one. And with my time a little bit on the low side, I decided to just pass turn and score points.
Yeah, so luckily he hasn't tabled me like last game at this time, because I think turn 3 was when you had like literally broke my army's back.
Yeah, leaving any Warmongers is really bad for me, especially with the way that those guys are clumped up. I really wanted to get rid of them to stop the Berserk chains.
Yep, so I Vengeance up, punch a dude, and then this is where you remember...
Yeah, I was like, oh, the Bond of Blood is here, and I forgot. So we ended up putting them back in, and unfortunately I didn't put them back in a skeezy way where I was going to be able to keep the unit regardless. So right now I think all these guys are really in range to be dealt with.
So I'm just trying to plan out, I want, like, there's only a couple dudes and the Lancer in the zone. So I want to try and maybe push back scenario and clear the rectangle, because Stryker's in it, but he doesn't contest. But I don't have anything that can really get to Alexia. I can get a Chosen impact attack if I... Oh, I guess I didn't feat last turn. Oh, I think I flipped the token out for Carnage last turn. So I feat this turn because I'm hoping that, like, I didn't measure it first, if I could get reach to the Lancer, which I can't. So, like, I just kind of feat for no reason, because if I hit Legion, I kill them.
Yeah, they just die.
And like I said, the Chosen will never be in the feat because Stryker threatens farther than my feat. So I just start doing some berserks.
Yep, and we lose all the Legion. So a better deal would have been for me to put the Legion of Lost Souls behind the Lancer, so that way I'd still have them and can start bringing them back again. But unfortunately, I didn't have the forethought to do that, because I was so like panic mode about not getting them back.
So there I'm measuring my charge. Alexia is just outside 10, but if I full steam him, then she can charge 12, and then I can impact attack Alexia and Stryker just for good measure. I don't think I could get a charge on Stryker. Actually, from this angle, from where I was like on my side of the table, I didn't think I'd have a line.
I think it wasn't that you didn't have a line, it was that you wouldn't have the distance without full steam.
It's more of if I'm directly facing Stryker, I eat a counter charge from Rowdy, and then that doesn't work. And then there, my charge attack on Rowdy rolls a 4.
Yep, and I still have my movement up, so unfortunately that misses for you.
So now I have no chance in my mind of clearing and pushing up
And
scenario.
your impact didn't get Alexia.
Nope.
So I think even though I lost the Legion of Lost Souls here, I've got 2 Warjacks, Alexia, and Throne still hanging around. I'm still cranking points up. We're both at 3, so there's no real threat for scenario loss on my side. So I think I start off with Stryker, maybe? No, I start off with old Rowdy. We're just trying to kill this Chosen that's in the zone, and we end up getting him. It takes his full stack to do it because of the tough and rapid healing that was going on, but we end up getting him out of there. And now I've got to figure out what it is that Stryker's going to, or what the rest of the army's going to do. I think we end up moving Throne because I thought I could take a gunshot here. And this might be the one where we find out that we couldn't get a line to him. Or no, that was a different game. So we end up putting a couple damage on Gorag with his gun. Next up, Alexia ends up walking up through the forest and takes a swing on the Warmonger that's there, and she doesn't do anything. I guess she charged, but doesn't put any damage on him. Next, my fully loaded Lancer goes, actually Stryker goes, and I think this is where I decide to like positive charge him or something. I'm not quite sure what Stryker did.
You velocity'd and overloaded for some reason.
Oh, yeah. I overloaded because I was just like feeling like a little kid. So I overloaded once just to make sure I get Gorag in these guys without having to spend a ton of focus to do it. And I take 6 damage, but only get +3 POW. I kill Gorag, but I don't have enough to get rid of this little Warmonger that's hanging out here, and I believe that I have no focus on me right now. Oh, no, I guess I do get him, but have no focus. Next up, the Lancer decides to body block Stryker, and this is what I'm trying to do to help protect me from Anamag.
So O'Brien gave me one out, and that is to try and kill Stryker, because if he hadn't velocity'd up, I think like I just lose this game, because I got nothing left, and I think the Lancer could have cleared the Shredder pretty easily, and then Ammok's just kind of there. So I'm stuck in the tank of how do I kill Stryker, who for some reason has some of the best defensive stats in the whole damn game at 16-16. Like,
it's nasty. There's nothing this guy
I very much
do.
dislike Stryker too, but I'll save that till the end of the thing, the rant about him. So I'm measuring if I have line of sight around the cloud, and I think it takes us a little bit of measuring, and it ends up I do. I'm outside 10 for Gallows, but Ammok gives Spiritual Conduit, and he's command 10, so it's a range 12 Gallows.
Yep, that line was so thin that I was just like, I can't argue one way or the other, so we went with it.
Because I don't have the distance to charge, but if I pull him 3 inches into the cloud, then I can charge him. The Spell Slave runs to Gallows the Lancer out of the way because I can't Gallows Stryker closer unless I pull him first. So I have to go for an unboosted 6 on the Gallows because math is just rough.
You get it though, and you pull him enough just to get him out of Stryker's business.
Yep. Do like no damage at dice -5. I do like 2 points, but it doesn't matter. So now Anime has to boost the hit because she needs a 9. Hits him, pulls him 5 inches. I don't have the focus to boost anymore, but it's just a POW 13 dice -3. And then I charge. I don't even know if I rolled damage on the Gallows.
I think that happens a lot with Gallows.
So I miss.
Yeah, because you need a 10 to connect.
Yep. Mekanoshredder boosts the hit, misses, buys, misses. Ammok charges, misses because he needs a 10. And then at this point, I just concede. Or I think I'm gonna. We play through. This is where I get to live my little kid moment with Stryker. I just overcharge him. I get +10 to my POW to my strength, and then I take like 5 damage or something like that. You are left on 2.
Yep. So I do a dice +10 damage roll against Anamag and flatten her in one shot.
Yeah.
So game 3 comes around, and again, I'm not persuaded to do anything to my sideboard because the main list is so tight and just needs it all to work, and it seems to be doing okay right now. I feel like I've kind of found my groove with Stryker, and I'm ready to go.
And then I don't sideboard in the birds because it's literally just detrimental to my army to put out single wound infantry that the Legion of Lost Souls can vengeance and daisy chain to bloodbound back the entire unit from one dude. So since I lost that game, I finally get to go first, which means I can actually run the full distance turn 1, which is super fun.
I did get to flip you sides, though, because I think that house and the rock are a lot more of a problem for you than they are for me.
Yep. So Anamag finally gets to walk farther than the kill box. Actually, I'm at the kill box because I'm at the 7 and walk, so actually this isn't even the farthest she's gotten the gone. She couldn't charge because no line of sight. Chosen run their 14 for the first time this game, and then those guys run up 10. Some of them can't fit over the wall, so they have to stay back. Golab goes up. Basically just running up for full distance for once.
So now I get to learn how to play reactively with Stryker instead of being proactive about him. I'm worried about the Chosen just kind of coming into my heavies, or not my heavies, my warjacks for nothing. So I decide to play a little coy with them and keep them back a little bit more. The Legion of Lost Souls, I'm going to do my bait tricks again, but as you can see me funneling them in right now, you can tell that I've probably given Ethan far too many Legion of Lost Souls. Really, they all should be behind this cloud, and then just like 2 or 3 of them should be up to bait out the Chosen, because again, if you don't do anything to them, they're just going to charge you, and 3 of them will still do a lot of work, and then the rest can just dig that line in. Other than that, everyone's just kind of funneling in.
Forget to mention last turn, there is a Spell Martyr hiding behind the rock because I didn't want to move him up and then die to a Lightning Storm from a Lancer. So I can't even threaten Gallows this game because I need the Spell Martyr to score my flag because Ammok can't be on it because he needs to be able to strip Rebuke from the middle of the table because Stryker can just randomly rebuke a unit and take it out of the game. And I need to be able to not put Anamag on the flag because that's in the Stryker danger zone of where I just die. So, like, literally, I can't leverage the Spell Martyr. And I'm just measuring. I want to do some impact attacks, but I can't move. I might be able to move up enough with Carnage to try and leverage and get the front row under Carnage so that like, the impact attacks go better. And I'm debating feeding this turn just because, like, I don't know if I'm going to get a better chance, as sad as that is to say, just for impact attacks on 3 stupid, tough Legion.
Yeah.
Because I just need my models to be in control for Grievous and Dark Shroud. So I move up. Unfortunately, the Burning Earth is too big to contest from behind the flag, but at least like if he wants to go on the flag, I can maybe take a shot and stop him from scoring. I run up the Warmongers 1 into the forest to try and proc some vengeance. The rest are just kind of moving up. There's me measuring my 14-inch control area. And there's my proxy to make sure that if I walk up to behind the wall, I will be able to be within 14, and I can.
I think this turn just ends up taking a little while for you to engineer because you might be fighting with the idea of whether you're going to feat for these 3 or not.
Yeah, because like feeding for 3 Legion of Lost Souls feels absolutely terrible.
Well, the thing that's decent about it, at least, is like I put tough on them right now, so tough is relevant, and I'm not going to be toughing after this because they're going to be getting Stir the Blood, and you don't need the feat to kill my heavies.
I do, because as the last 2 games show, like I come up short every time.
So I guess that's what it comes down to then. Like, are you worried about the Def 13 and then on top of that the tough because you don't need help killing Legion?
No, I'm worried about a tough stopping my charge and then my impact attacks just screw me, and then I'm left there dangling in the wind.
So now we got some movement, and you put in your first impact. You end up hitting and getting him off there. So Operation Dig Deeper into the Legion is working out for you pretty well so far.
Yep, so there I do an impact attack on both of those. He's charging the one in the cloud, so this one's a little bit more risky.
And you do miss.
Oh, no, he charged the bottom one because I was like, after I talked
Yeah, because you didn't want to get greedy.
Yep, because I was like, that's what happened the first game. So now... what that was.
I think you're just digging him in a little deeper and trying to get some impacts in. This is, again, a good example of giving him too many Legion.
Yep.
So those 2 both go down with the impact and the charge. I think you didn't even get the charge attack, to be honest.
No, I forgot to do the charge with that back one, and then we realized that's counter-charge threat.
Yep, so now we get to finally do the counter-charge business on Rowdy, and we take a Chosen off for free, which always feels good.
Yeah, he crit knocks down.
It also projects threat on Rowdy a little bit because now you can't really get anything on him.
Actually, I can.
I mean, yeah, you got one guy that can make it in there.
I have Golab.
Yep, so I was thinking about the Warmongers.
Nope.
So
I should have repoed the Chosen over to engage Rowdy, so that way I get Dark Shroud. But I wasn't even thinking about that because like it slipped my mind too that it's just Warrior Models that get Dark Shroud. Like I wasn't planning on sending in Golab until he countercharged because with full steam I can get my 1-inch and then free charge. It's dice -5, but once I proc Finisher, like I think I can take Rowdy, and if I can take him pre-Stryker feat, and then Lightning Strike away, like I think
that's
this
some
game,
big leverage. Yeah,
this game can go well, whereas the other ones were kind of a shit show. Like,
yeah, I won't disagree with you there. Like, even though I lost the first one on time, I had you under my
or
thumb.
I wanted Snare just because you never contested. So there, he hits the retaliatory strike, and
I got dice +1 on you and roll 8 damage to the 3. What does that do, Ethan?
That cripples Golag's body. So that's really fun. Because he has exactly 8 boxes. Luckily, Finisher brings me back up to 2 dice. So as you can see on his grid, I've now
You're just kind of scratching the paint.
Yeah, like I will admit I tilted because I'm like, well, now I've thrown Golab, the Chosen, and my feet, and yeah, like this game was gonna go better, and it's not.
So getting Golab like this is probably one of the best things that could have happened right now. Like I said, I was trying to play a little bit more reactive with Stryker, but now I don't really need to worry about that so much because now everything that I want to try and kill is in my face, so I don't end up losing a whole lot to like these Warmongers and stuff like that. So you saw me proxying with a James to see, can I get this Lancer to run over to do a lightning hazard or lightning storm onto the flag, because if since I have the bottom of the turn, if I can control Ethan's scoring elements, then it means that I'm not going to end up falling behind in scenario. So I end up finding out that I can definitely make it to get that lightning shroud out there. So I allocate in a way to where Stryker gets to keep focus to throw out a boosted lightning storm, and Rowdy can do his stuff. So all that dice rolling was just me taking vengeance attacks, which actually like just helps you more than hurts me, like at dice off 7 on those chosen. So that was probably not like I just got a little greedy with the vengeance moves. So now we're gonna go with Rowdy and let him open up the gift that is Golab's noggin. So we start taking swings on him, and the damage rolls end up doing like not super great, but it doesn't take much since we already did 8 damage to him. So the full stack goes down, a very efficient removal of I guess we might have one more focus on him, so not the most efficient, but I wanted to make sure that he didn't go down. Or that he didn't not go down, I guess. Yeah, double negative. So the Lancer runs into position. I'm towing the square zone, so it means that Ethan needs to get rid of it if he wants to try and start like contesting it a little bit more. So we end up going with Stryker, and I do overcharge for 1 because I think I want to try. What I want to do is get rid of this Chosen that's engaging all these Legion of Lost Souls, and I don't have any extra focus to kind of juggle around with here because I'm worried about missing a 6 on the lightning storm. So I don't get to do a ton of damage to that Chosen because I didn't roll super hot, and you healed 3 on the healing. Rolled 3 on the healing. My lightning storm ends up going out and hits, and I rolled a 3, a 1, and a 6, so boosting was really important there for me. It could have been good or bad, right? Dice magic is weird. So I end up getting rid of his spell martyr, so that means that Ammok needs to babysit that flag, which means that later on in the game, Rebuke's going to actually start doing some work because you won't be able to get it off of things as easily if you want to start scoring points. So next up I have Alexia go because I want to try and have her charge she didn't charge the Chosen, she just kind of walks up to it. Maybe she gets a full charge, I can't remember.
I don't think she got a charge, but she has flank.
Yep, so she doesn't do anything here, so this is probably null magic or death magic would have been better. So now Gabriel Throne's going to go, and I'm just unpacking everything into this stupid Chosen to get rid of it. So I end up crushing damage on him, and he doesn't tough. So finally it took 3 different models to get rid of this Chosen, but that is really important because now all these Legion of Lost Souls are freed up, and they can go in and start charging off on this Chosen, and you can see I super commit to him because I'm not worried about the Warmongers anymore, so I just want to get him gone. So now everything Ethan's kind of put into my face is now gone, so his leverage that he's gained by trying to get the drop on me isn't really going to do a lot here. So we start, it takes a lot of effort. Like, I think the Stir the Blood is up on these guys. Death Magic is not up on them, so they're not doing a ton of work to the Chosen, and his healing goes really well. So I think after that, he's on 1 box.
He's on
4, so not great.
Yeah, because at one point you got him down to 1 box without toughing, and if you had death magic, you would have killed him.
Yep, sure would have. So that was me getting a little too greedy with my activations, but
yeah,
what can you do?
I think you didn't want to unpack Throne. I think you wanted them on your flag. But,
I really did.
But Tactician, Weapon Master, Blessed Charges just means he can charge through Legion and free them up.
It's really hard to put that kind of model on a flag to just exist there without taking advantage of his amazing combat output.
Yep. So there I'm measuring. Anamag can walk over there. I throw out a boosted Gallows on the Lancer, which hits. And I pull him out of the zone because of the triangle, because he was just towing it on his edge, and I'm farther away from the zone top-wise. So I pull him out. I think I boost. I opt not to boost damage, because I'm going to give +2 strength. And I do 4 to the 2, so like I'm started on his arm. I do the +2 strength spell, camp 0, because like I'm out of Stryker threat. And hopefully I'm going to take down this Arc Node. So this one can see 3 inches out, and I opt to charge old Rowdy to hopefully maybe finally cripple something on him. And then these ones all charge because I want to kill the Lancer to try and bully the middle zone. Gorag they do pop no quarter, so that way I can get all of them in there. And then Gorag misses, so that's fun. And then even with his neg 2 def, it basically negates
Set defense.
set defense. The next one's hit. They're up to POW 16s, so dice -2.
Blows it up.
Yep, takes out a shield. Second one hits because I took out his movement, and then rolls abysmal.
Yep, and he leaves him on 3 boxes, 4 boxes, something like that.
Yep.
So now old Rowdy's getting his hit. And you do really well on the damage there.
I believe I took out both arms.
You took out one of them.
Oh,
you took out his hammer.
Yep.
His fist is still good.
Yep. And then my Chosen is still alive through somehow, so he gets the mount attack and pole arm and kill 2 dudes.
Yep, through the grace of Everblight, you have somehow survived.
So now I'm able to score 2 points this turn, because unfortunately Rowdy's in the zone, but I'm scoring the rectangle, I'm scoring my flag once Amon runs over, or Ammok.
Ammok, yeah.
And then just pass turn.
When I had passed the clock over last turn, I kind of noticed that I had set myself up for Ethan to really take some advantage on the scenario. Like, getting the Spell Martyr gone was good for a couple reasons, but still you have your not disposable solos, but you've got ways to score the flag over there. So I'm going to be doing Vengeance moves now. I think I opt to not take attacks because it'll just end up doing, even if I do some damage to that Chosen, it's probably just going to heal him more than hurt him.
Yep.
So I'm really just kind of setting up for what I want to unpack with them next. I fully allocate to Old Rowdy, and I fully allocate to my Lancer because he just has a Cortex and his Spear Arm. So my hope this turn is my plan this turn right now is to get positive charge out on Old Rowdy so that I can start doing a lot of work over there and get rid of these Warmongers and kind of just level the table from what is left on Ethan's side. Throne rolls ridiculous amounts of damage, and he toughs. So that's unfortunate. So now Alexia is going to she's not going to learn from the last game. She takes her charge in and does just enough to not kill him, I think is what it was. Oh, no, we were working through it. I did just enough to kill him. I needed to roll that, roll the 4 damage, and that's what I ended up getting.
Yep, because he healed back up to 4, so he wasn't just on 1.
Yep. So Stryker ends up unpacking into this Warmonger. This way I can get him out of the way of Old Rowdy so he can go do what he wants to. I did not overcharge this one, but I end up getting him out of there, and luckily I don't have to buy any more attacks, so it allows me to positive charge Old Rowdy and get him up into the zone here to clear off these Warmongers so that I can start doing work with my Lancer.
And I think you opt to feat here.
I do. I meant to feat here in my head and didn't, and then after Old Rowdy move, I was like, can you just let me go back and feat? Like, I don't play that sloppy when I'm doing more like competitive stuff, but for this one I was just like, Stryker's new and just let me feat.
I just wanted it to be over, so I was like, just feat and table me already.
Feat and get it done with. So Old Rowdy goes up and clears off the Warmonger that was in the zone, and now we're throwing another attack into the other Warmonger. I'm using my hammer to attack because I only need a 2 to hit him, and then I switch over to my fist and then crush him. But he does tough. I think I have no more focus left on Rowdy, but it just means that the job's a little bit easier for the Lancer to do. I was kind of hoping to get rid of this guy so that the Lancer could walk up and start punking the Mekanoshredder. But instead, I'm just going to start running the Legion of Lost Souls up. This is like probably the most abusive thing with Stryker's feat, is just being able to run to get into position to start taking attacks with models that are really likely to kill something. So the Lancer gets to go and takes out the one Warmonger that was just sitting there with his shield. And then, or not with his shield, I think he uses spear to do it. Gorag ends up taking a dirt nap and doesn't get to tough from it. Now I'm getting to do my feet moves. Stryker moves back a little bit just to be super duper protected in that cloud. And now my Legion of Lost Souls are moving around and spreading out a little bit so they're not so clumped together, and start swinging on the Mekanoshredder. The first one misses. The second one connects and does a decent amount of damage to him, and then the second one connects as well and then kills the Mekanoshredder. Next up, I was trying to figure out if my Lancer could get onto the 4-inch contesting range, but no matter how I stack it, I'm just about an inch shy. So I move him up as far as I can and get Rowdy back into the zone, and now I'm super scoring that middle. So now the scenario is not so far away from me.
So once again, Brian has nearly tabled me and just scored 3 points to my 1, so we're both at 3-3. So once again, my only out is to try and kill a no-camp Stryker with some amazing stats. So
Yeah, 18-16 in that cloud.
Yep. So he's outside range of the Raek. I misplayed. I used the Raek this game as a deterrent for your flag, because like after last game when it just took 2 to 3 Legion of Lost Souls to trivially kill him,
Yeah, you were
I wanted
worried.
him to actually threaten the flag and try and stop you from scoring.
Mm-hmm.
But there I'm measuring a Hex Blast range because I'm like, maybe I could pull scenario, and I'm like, that's not happening. So I'm making sure I'm still in control. So we just walk 7. I think I say I'm going to boost the hit, and then I don't. Like, I put down the focus and just roll 2 dice, and I go to boost damage, and I was like, why is there already a focus here? Or a fury. So I just use it to boost damage, because I didn't actually boost.
Oh, yeah, because you thought you actually forgot to take it off last turn. So.
Yeah. So I roll bad, and then I buy an attack, misses, buy an attack, misses. So I'm like, well, the Raek didn't do his one job. That was fun, playing 6 points down as he hit over there. So now I'm trying to charge Anamag into one of the Legion of Lost Souls, get line of sight around the woods to Stryker without getting countercharged by Rowdy, which will probably just kill me on the countercharge, because that's how Rowdy's been doing this game. Or his hammer's out, so at least he can't crit knock me down, but he'd block the lane to Stryker. So there's an angle where I'm able to take a free strike, charge, and then be in the woods, outside line of sight. So I boost the hit it, boost damage, or I pull him 4 inches.
Yep. It is worth noting that leader rolled double ones again, so he missed his free strike.
I boost damage and leave him on 6, and then that's where I just call it, because I'm like, well, there's nothing I can do.
I've got a walk lane to Anamag right now, so
you just auto win on scenario.
Oh yeah, because you can't contest the middle anymore.
I can if I run amok, but then I'm not scoring my flag.
Yeah,
so
it's
a wash. You will score 3 again, and go 6 to my 4, and then you just end your turn and auto win, or you just kill
Anime. I got plenty of options here. So one of the things that we had discussed before this was, first of all, I wanted to play Cygnar. I had a Cygnar game loaded up and ready to go between myself and Lance from Brutal Damage, but unfortunately I pulled a smart move and cleared it off of my computer while I was doing some housekeeping, and wasn't able to get it. So it's been a while, I feel like, since Cygnar's been on the channel, so I was like, I have this pairing of Haley 3 and Stryker 2 for Brawlmachine, and I want to play one of them. So we kind of like went back and forth on what it was. I think we were going to try and do a Baldur 2 game into Stryker.
Baldur 2 we don't touch.
And Baldur 1 just feels really like difficult to deal with in Brawlmachine.
It was more of like...
He's like a weird gear check.
I've already played 2 Tharn Brawlmachine lists, and his list was almost identical to the other 2. It's like max blood trackers, fill with solos, and I was like, I don't want to play Tharn on Brawl again. So that's why we looked up what hadn't been played for a while, and we're like, oh, Legion hasn't been played, and I was like, I can pilot Primal Terrors.
Yeah, I think
I've played fucking dozens of games into Anamag, because that's all Legion was for like 6 months.
Yep. Anamag was actually the first battle report we ever did on the channel. It was myself against myself with Omodemo. So It's nice to see her kind of back on the channel.
Did she do as bad that time as well?
I think if I remember correctly, she charged in on Omodemos as the game was winding down and failed to kill Omodemos, and then he just like yeeted her across the table.
That sounds about right.
So sometimes it's hard to figure out what we're going to play on the channel. We've got access to just about every faction in the game outside Protectorate because nobody needs it. And I was like, okay, let's just do this and we'll go for it. Also, one of the things we wanted to just kind of talk about or discuss or maybe discover was like, is Stryker 2 too good for Brawlmachine? And I know we've talked about that before. We kind of danced with it with Old Witch 1, and it wasn't really something we've like focused in on, but I played game 1 and 2 horribly, and I still came out on it. And if I would have had extra time, because Ethan and I do play with 25-minute timers, we're both competent players. It just so happens that when I'm flipping through factions a lot, it's not easy for me to take my turns quickly, but 25 minutes is more than enough time for us to finish a game. But regardless, I just kind of, outside of the weird scenario stuff, I've almost tabled you every single game we've played in here, and that's with very minimal effort.
Yeah, that's just Stryker's whole kit, like, and Flames. That's the problem. Like,
Yeah, it's not so much that Stryker 1's the issue, it's that Stryker 1 in Flames is the issue.
Stryker 2, you mean?
Yeah, Stryker 2, sorry. Because, like, he brings a damage buff. You can still fit 2 damage buffs in this list, and that's basically the full function of Flames at 75 points.
Yeah, you've basically condensed down the best boat and package of a 75-point list into 25, because the Legion do pretty much everything you need. Like, you trivially get them to POW 18s.
They threaten forever.
They kill infantry. You have shield wall and D-cell if you need to survive against guns.
And they can fill themselves back up. So as long as you're not giving the whole unit away, they're never out of the game completely. Even with all these buffs stacked on them, they get up to POW 18, and that's like 10 little old Rowdy hammers swinging around.
Yep, with reach.
Yep. So I might be a little bit on the bias side, like being a novice. First of all, novice Cygnar player. I don't play Cygnar that often. It's one of the factions I want to focus in on more because I definitely like am enjoying what I'm doing with them. But with given that I don't play this faction often, and it is worth mentioning that this is probably your first game with Legion ever.
Yes, I've played into them hundreds of times.
Yeah,
but never as them.
Remembering the old days of Circle never being able to beat them, and then watching you get your stones punked on the top of one. That was always fun.
Yeah.
So it's not that, like, even with us given our unique positions in these two lists, I still feel like Stryker 2 just does way too much. And I know this video's been going on for a while, but I do feel like it's worth mentioning that Stryker 2 just feels like he's far too powerful to be in a 25-point format.
The problem
with Flames.
The problem is he literally does everything. He has a threat extender, he has a damage buff, he has D-cell, he has rebuke, he has personal threat. Like, those 2 games where I went second, I could barely leave my deployment zone because at 25 points, I don't have stuff to body block and stop Stryker from just trivially overloading for 3, hoping he doesn't roll a 17 or 18 for damage and kill himself, and then just 2-shot my caster through transfers.
And that's the thing, is like Stryker 2 is, he kills your caster every way. You either walk into the threat and die, or you don't walk into the threat and then your caster can't influence the table. That's a functional killing of the caster.
Like, I couldn't leverage half of my kit. Like, I couldn't really feat. I couldn't really carnage.
You couldn't get the fake blood boon off often.
Yeah, like, it was just really rough to have him literally be 15. He moves 15 inches turn 1, so he's at the 22-inch line, and he literally dictates, yes, like, I can keep my caster out of it, but I'm so not impacting the table where it's like, what do I do with my caster? I have to throw my army away. And then game 2 showcased his, like, I was out of threats, of charge threats. He just feeded, ran, moved 3, threatened 17 inches with POW 18 dudes, wiped my battle group, and then I came in, killed some Legion of Lost Souls, they vengeanced, killed everything else, and then life was good for him.
It's just a double alpha, and it really, really is hard to mitigate. Like, Stryker 2 is probably the most efficient shovel in all of Warmachine, and what I mean by that is, if you find yourself in a hole, like there's a problem that you've found yourself in, Stryker 2 can get you out of it more often than not.
I've played countless games into Stryker where, like, my opponent's literal goal is to feed me his army for under 2 hours, and then it's like, okay, it's turn 7, or back then before there's turn limits, it's like, okay, well, now you're within 17 inches of Stryker, I just win.
Yep, you get to the point where you've attrition down far enough, like right here, like you got to go for gutsy plays, and if you fail them, you're dead. Like, there's no, you either win or you lose at this point. And I think that, I get it, like, you have a caster and a solo on the table, that's what it should be. But honestly, given what you're, like, right now, what you would be looking at the end of the turn, or what we're looking at least, I've lost nothing. I've got a fully functional heavy, minus his hammer being down, but positive charge fixes that, putting him to mat 10. I've got a Lancer that can still do what it needs to do to kill Ammok if I need to, and I still got 3 Legion of Lost Souls, and that's just as bad as having, like, 5.
Yeah, because, like, it's just, like, the attrition grind, and I know, like, the line of sight people, they've been on the fence about Stryker 2. They played I know they posted, like, one battle report where Stryker didn't really do much, but it's just, like, when he wins the roll, I can't do anything.
Even when I didn't win the roll, like when granted there were some issues where the counter charge happened and maybe some chosen didn't do what they needed to do, but even though I had lost half of the Legion of Lost Souls, I was still able to just whip right back in and be like, okay, you took off half my army, I don't care.
Because you can just feat for efficiency and get all the extra attacks.
Yep.
And then like I had a chance this game until a random retaliatory strike took out my body.
Yep, that Golab thing really jacked you hard.
Like, you need everything to go right into this list, or things like it will just snowball against you, and that was just one thing. Like, if Rowdy goes down, I might be able to pull this game out, because then there's this heavy hitter on this side. Stryker has to overload. I mean, Stryker will overload and just kill Golab himself, but then, like, maybe his assassination potential isn't as great if he rolls high on damage.
Yep, and it also would have stopped me from lightning storming the solo off the flag, because that's probably where the focus would have went. But otherwise, not much else would have changed that turn. Like, you have a chance, but it's not like you just, like, have a 4-leaf clover up your butt and tied every rabbit's foot in the world around your neck and went to go buy a scratch-off ticket type chance. Like, Stryker can still get out of that problem.
Yeah, he can dig himself out, because they've tried to ban melee casters that are too efficient, and like even the randomness of overload, it's not at 25 points. Like, when he can just go up, kill a heavy, velocity away, like there's just, I can't stop it.
Even just that massive threat. Like, I think Butcher 3, not only just for his combat potential at a flashing blade POW 16 weapon master, but Energizer plus the pull plus his innate threat, especially with Sorcerer 0 on top of it, that threatens a lot of distance. Stryker does that, and at POW 25 you're probably better than a POW 16 weapon master.
I've had Stryker kill a full health Warp Wolf through a transfer from punching my caster. That has happened before, because he rolled max damage on his 3d6, and then it's like, well, I'm dice plus 17 on your arm 14 caster. Isn't this... Oh no, it's dice plus 20. It's like, isn't this fun?
I haven't paid a ton of attention to the stats from the Brawlmachine online leagues that they've been doing, but I would be interested to see what the results are for Stryker 2 in those matchups, because, like, I just really feel like there's very little ways that Stryker loses.
And, like, I even had an out for Rebuke, but, like, imagine if I didn't have a disbinding bot. Like, if he rebukes a unit, now that the unit's kind of taken out of the game, like, Rebuke at Brawlmachine level just feels huge.
Yeah, if TK is a busted spell in Brawlmachine, I feel like Rebuke gets really close to it. And this is that problem of whenever you take something out of the game that's the most powerful, there's always something behind it. And I feel like Rebuke is a frog hair behind TK.
Yeah, like, if you take 2 units, it's okay, it's manageable, but, like, that's still like half your army, half your 25 points, excluding your battle group.
They cannot run. Like, not just that they can't charge, but they can't even get into the position of the table to start doing work. And with the way that Lancers work, you can just you just put him up there, rebuke the unit, and they can't touch him.
Yeah, because
they have to be speed 8 with reach.
Yep, and that's probably not a thing.
Yep, sure isn't.
But maybe that's just part of having
Lances.
to have having to have a sideboard with upkeep removal.
Yeah.
So it's like, maybe you have to reserve your Merc slot for Eilish, and then it's like trying to slot in 5 points.
But then isn't that still a problem, that Stryker's dictating your 5 points in your sideboard and your Merc slot right away? Like, I feel like just because there's an out for it doesn't mean that, and that's just one part of him, right? Like, I still don't... If it were me, I would be more seriously looking at the idea of getting rid of Stryker 2 solely because this theme exists.
That
in Brawlmachine.
I mean, he can still do it with a maxing of the Storm Lances, like feet.
But in
run.
Storm Division, you're paying 2 more points for Storm Lances.
Yep.
So you don't need Gabriel Throne, so I guess it's not a big deal there. But you're going to be losing quite a bit out of it, and I feel like Storm Division is just like, it's good, but it's not this good.
And then, I guess you're not getting Arcane Shield, because that's 20 points.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah. Flames, like, there are just some themes, I think I've said it a couple times, where it's just like, at 25 points, some themes just don't feel that balanced. And, like, I've played Tharn a couple times on the channel, but I made sure not to play, like, the max Tharn mailboat. Like, I had an Iona list, and I was like, I wish I had dropped that as a screw you, because I was like, no, Iona Tharn feels too good at...
And then I just throw Stryker 2 flames at you.
I know, because I was like, then all I need is one Ravager the Pac-Man through your entire units.
Yep.
So maybe Stryker 2's fine. You just got to play better stuff.
Yeah, just get good. That's the motto.